Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to El Tor Cockerel. It's Monday, the 5th of July. Sorry, Monday, August the 5th of July. 3 o'clock, or just gone 3, it's 10 past 3, so I'm a bit late. It was just basically to try and grab some more support because I will be away from Wednesday. I won't be back till Saturday, and it was trying to gather some more support and some more people to join the competitions that we are taking or that are taking place here at Hotel Cockerel. Many of you know, if you're new, then you'll find out now. But many of you know that what I used to do, and what I'm still going to continue doing, is I'm going to do a predictions league, the same as what I've done before. So all manual, all done on Excel spreadsheets, all done by doing a live show on a Friday or whatever the day may be. Usually be on a Friday where we predict the Premiership scores. I will do the same again where when we have an international break, we will introduce other leagues in order to predict, in order to keep people's points and keep it going. So the predictions will run every week from the start of the season, from the start of the Premiership season. So I'm not going to do the first week of the Championship. It will start from the Premiership, and then I'll continue doing it on a Friday show as per usual. So for those that have entered before, you just got to tune in, and you tune in, and we do live shows on a Friday, and I'll continue to do that. But other than that, I've got two further competitions that I'll be running this year, and basically they can be found on my community page. If you answer the community page right at the top, I've put in there both of the competitions. One of the competitions is another predictions show, or another predictions competition, but this one is a bit different. It's a bit different to what I normally do, and in the sense of it's different, and I'll show you how it's different. Because when I do the predictions, right, what I do is I take it on the scores that you guys give me, and then what I do is you get 3 points for getting the correct score, and you get a point for getting a prediction, and that's as far as it goes. So it's quite simple one that I do. 3 points. You either gain 3 points, 1 point, or no points for each match, and then I total that at the end of the week, and you get a score. However, the online predictions is separate. The online predictions that I'll be running this season will be self-sufficient, so self-serving. So you sign up to the league, right, and then you go into it, and it comes up like this. And then that means that you are the masters of your own universe. You are enter your own score. So if you miss a week, or if you miss the score, it's not down to me. It'll be down to yourselves. And you just put scores in. So for Man United at the moment, I can put in a score there if you see what I'm doing. Let's say I'll go for Man United 2, Fulham 1. With any of these matches, the beauty of this game is that as long as the ball hasn't kicked off from each match, you can change your score prediction. So let's say, for argument's sake, first game of the season is obviously Man United Fulham. And I mean, at the moment, we know that Man United are going to be without Lenny Yoro, who they just bought for 3 months. Rasmus Højlund's out for the first 6 weeks of the season. So, you know, it's kind of tells you, from where you hear like what's going on with the clubs and who's in and out, then you might change your opinion on what the score would be. Now, this far out, I know that already because Man United has said that. Ten Hag's also said that Joshua Zirkzee is not ready for Premiership football and will not be starting in the Premiership. So he's now looking to play either Fernandes or what's his name, Jadon Sancho as a false nine. So if anything like that happens towards, if anything further comes out towards the beginning of the first game, which is on Friday, 16th of August, you might change your mind. So where I've got 2-1 for Man United, by the time the match comes, half an hour before kickoff, and the lineups and everything like that, who's been injured and who's suspended and who's not playing and whatever, you might revert and change your mind. And then that's the beauty of it, because I've now changed it. I had 2-1 Man United, and I've now changed it to 0-1 to Fulham. So yeah, with the predictions, you can change this at any time as long as the match hasn't kicked off. The difference though with this, as opposed to the my one, is that this league operates a scoring system that if you're over or under predict your score line, it affects your goals for and your goals against to make it interesting. Yeah. So if you've got someone like if you've got like I said, if I went for Man United 2 Fulham 1 and the score ended up being 4-0, I would lose goal difference because Man United would have scored 2 more goals than I predicted, and Fulham would have scored 1 more than I predicted. So being over and under also goes a long way. So that's online. It can be found on the community page. It's as simple as, yeah, you just go into the website or the page that's been set up as, which is called Predict the Football. You go into it, and once you go into it, you enter the code for the league that we've got set up for LTL Cockerel, and that's it. And then you're in, and then every week it's up to you to keep changing the scores and putting the scores in. Predict the Football will also send you an email weekly to tell you how you've done and to also tell you that, you know, there's games coming up. So it does send you out friendly reminders as well. It doesn't send you out any extra fluffer and stuff like that. It just tells you basically time to predict the league or these are the results for the week. But it is self-serving, so it's down to yourselves to actually keep up on it. So yeah, there's not many people watching today, and if people are watching on playback, it's up to you. I'm not going to force people to get into it, but I won't be posting out so much about this because I will be away from Wednesday. Mark, it's simple, mate. All you got to do is you go to the link on the community page and then enter, and that's it. And then all you're doing is you're changing, you put your scores in, and yeah, give it a go if you wish. It's up to you. So sorry, before I carry on, Jamie Wooten saying, good afternoon, how you doing? Yeah, all good here, Jamie. I hope you're well, sir. Hope you're well. Your season starts at the weekend. Good luck to Sheffield United for the rest of this season, Jamie, from me. Daniel Coy says, big up, mate. Big up, Daniel. I hope you're well, sir. I hope you're well. Never short of a word, Daniel, which is good. And then you've got Mark Cousins, big up, Jose. I don't understand any of that technical nonsense. It's easy, mate. All you do is just sign in, put a code, and then after that, you just enter your predictions. But I will still be doing the live ones that I do on the show. But this year, I'm not chasing people on WhatsApp groups, and I'll only be accepting it from the show. So either people will put the results in the show by coming in on a Friday and watching it live, or those that can't watch it live can leave them on the end of the stream. And if you leave them on the end of the stream, they'll be accepted. But I won't be chasing people through groups this year. It's too much work, and I did it last year, and I won't be doing it again this year. You got AJ says, big up Jose, my man. Great to see you on Kate's live earlier. Yeah, and you, AJ, and you, mate. Ryan G says, big up Jose. So yeah, so as I said, it's called Premier League.predictfootball, predictthefootball.com. On the community page, it's the second from last post that I've got there. You've got the link to it, and you've also got the you have the link to it, and you have the code for the league. Good afternoon, Chris. I hope you're well, sir. So yeah, so the link's there for the site itself, and the code for our league is in there. And yeah, like I said, it's self-serving. It's fun. You'll be able to see where you are at any given point. And as I said, the owners of the Predictor Premier, they send you a weekly update to tell you like it's time to put your predictions in, or you've completed your predictions. This is what you got for the week. And then also what it then has as well, because I'm still sharing, it has an actual league table. And at the moment, we've got 18 players who are all there on screen. So we've got Carl Simpson, Chris Peters, Colin Sievers, Dan, who you know as Dan Coys, Donna Cullen, Graham, who's Spurs GCTV, Jamie Imber, who's Jamie Imber or Talking Tottenham TV. We've got Johnny Sanchez, who you all know as Johnny Sanchez Vasco or Johnny Sanchez Bethnal Green. You've got Joris, who's the Belgium Hotspur. You've got myself. You've got Kelly Edwards, who is Kells in the chat. You've got Kevin Clark, who's Kev Clark in the chat. You've got Cooper99, who is that in the chat. Lee Smithy Smith. You've got Rob Belcher. You've got Ronnie, Scott Colliver, and Scott M. So at the moment, it's 18 people. I'd like to get these numbers up, hence why I'm doing this show. I'll probably do another one tomorrow. But then after that, it'll be very, very, very scarce because I'll be away with my grandchildren. So for the rest of the week, and I won't be back till Saturday. So it won't be me catching people out. It's going to have to be people doing it off their own volition and having their own, or searching and looking at the community page themselves. But yeah, as I said, this is self-serving and this should be fun for everybody to enter. This seems a lot to remember. I'll be real, mate. I'll probably just do the normal predictions we've done last year. You're already in, Dan, right? You're already in. So the reason, so with you, it's nice and easy. With you, all you got to do, right, is just enter your scores because you're already in. You know, the difficult part, if people ain't technically based, the difficult part is just signing in. And all it is a link that takes you in straight to sign you in. Put the code in, and then all you got to do is sit back and wait. An email will come out to you probably and say to you, "Time to predict the league," and then you just do it, and you're self-serving. So yeah, it'd be good. It'd be good. Graham, hi, yeah, your chats are coming through, Graham. You said evening, afternoon. Hope you're well. Yeah, you are coming through. Good afternoon, Graham. A couple of people have responded back to you that you're coming through. What's the website, mate? I forgot. You're in already in the website, so you're already in because look, you can see you're in the league already. You're currently number 4. Dan with a small e. You're number 4. It's on the community page. The second posting I've got there, but it's called premierleague.predictthefootball.com. And if you go to that, it should take you straight in because you're already signed up, mate. You're already signed up. 3 for all. Good afternoon, 3 for all. Says afternoon, Jose. I'll jump onto Prediction League when I've got a minute. By all means, as I said, the more the merrier. At the moment, we have 18. It'd be nice to get a fair few more, seeing that last year on the manual one alone, I had 109 people. He said, "Yes, mate. I just want to write down the website so I can remember each week to do the predictions." Mate, like I said, Daniel, I've got a feeling because I did this last year on another channel. I did this league, and I've got a feeling that they send you out an email on a weekly basis, and then when they send it out to you, you just go back in and do it, so you get a reminder from them. If that makes any sense. But obviously, on the shows, I'll be saying to people, predict the league, predict the Premier is due this week, and then I'll give people a gentle reminder. But what I'm trying to do at the moment is draw people into it so people know it's there. But yeah, that's all well and good. So there's 18 people. Graham says, happy days. Looking forward to all the league predictions. I have a bag of tea leaves to help me out. Fantastic, Graham. Fantastic. And Mark says, I think my team sacked me last season. And Dan saying, if I get an email reminder, that's all good then. I think you do get an email reminder, if I remember rightly, from when I did it last year. But also, obviously, when the season starts, I'll be doing more shows more frequently, and I'll be telling people, remember. So I'll be reminding people as well to go and have a look at it. But I'm sure once the season starts, you guys will know the season started, and you guys will remember because you guys are interested in the Premier League. And so you'll know, it's Premier League match, Premier League's this weekend. I've got to put the predictions in. But there we go. But like I said, I'm still doing the one that I did before. which was the one that started this all off, which a lot of you here in the chat were part of it last year, and I want you to be part of it again this year. And that's where I do the Friday shows, where we go through each game and people put their predictions in, and then I just take it and put it into spreadsheets and do all the manual work for it. But the only difference is this year is I will not be chasing people. Good afternoon, Daniel Sandoval says, big up familiar and come on you Spurs. Daniel, I hope you're well, sir. Good afternoon to you. It's been a while, not seen you for a while. And yeah, so what I'm going to do is, last year I chased people. I'm not chasing people this year. People are all grown up, should be able to do it themselves. And I will only accept scores on the show itself and or when the show finishes. If people haven't been able to make the show, then people can leave their scores in the comments at the end of the show, and I will take them from there. But I'm not chasing people this year. I just, it was a lot of work last year, and I'm just trying to minimize the amount of work that I've got to do. I'll do the show. If the show lasts 3 hours, it lasts 3 hours. I'm quite happy to put the effort and time and effort in the show, but I'm not going to go behind the scenes and do the mad things that I was doing last year. I mean, it went really well. It was successful, but it took a lot of my time doing it. And then when you've got to work and you've got family and then you're trying to do this as well for people, it's a lot to do. So yeah, the next one for everybody is we're running a fantasy football league. And Mark, stick with me because I don't know whether you've done a fantasy football league before, right? But with this one, again, it's in my it's on the community page. It's the last posting I've done on the community page. The website's fantasy.premierleague.com, and I've got a link that takes you straight here. And what you do when you first go in is you sign in, your details and all that. You pick a team name that you're going to use as your team name for the season. And then you have to pick 15 players. And you get 150 million. No, you get 100 million. You get 100 million pounds to pick 15 players. Each from the 15 players, you must select 2 goalkeepers, 5 defenders, 5 midfielders, and 3 attackers. But you only get 100 million to spend, and you can only pick 3 players maximum from 1 Premiership team. How this quite works out with if you picked players and they move clubs, how it works out if you ended up having 4 players from a club, I don't know. But usually at the start when you pick your team, it's 3 players from each club. There's a maximum from a club that you can select. Once you've selected your 15, so I've done a rough selection here. This is not the final team for me. I'm sharing. Nobody can see your team until the first game has kicked off. So after the Man United game, as soon as that finishes, you'll be able to see what everyone's selected. So at the moment, I've selected 15 players here just to show you how it works out. But I will be changing this team up. But I've selected 15 players and I've got 0 budget left. So this team has cost me 100 million pounds, right? The way the point system works out, if I remember rightly, is the goalkeepers score points for clean sheets. The goalkeepers also score points for the amount of saves they make. The goalkeepers also score points for penalty saves. And so they're the positive points. The goalkeepers score nothing for not having a clean sheet. And after the second goal, if you can see 2 goals, you get 0 points. But thereafter, every goal you can see thereafter gives you a minus point. And I think if you score a penalty, no, there's nothing to do with this penalty, right? So that's the goalkeepers. Defenders score you 4 points for a clean sheet, and you get a further 2 points. Sorry, every player that plays beyond 60 minutes scores 2 points. So if your player comes off at half time, you score 1 point for that player. If your player plays a minimum of 60 minutes, you get 2 points. And that's regardless of the position of the player, you get 2 extra points. Defenders also get points for assists. So not a pre-assist, it's got to be an assist. Now, if you've gone up with your Tottenham, say your defender's gone up for a corner and he's headed the ball on, right? He's won the first header, but the header then bounces off an opponent and then lands in front of your player and he scores a goal. That doesn't count as assist. It has to be a direct assist. So every player scores points for assists. Every player scores points for goals. So a defender scores a goal. I think a defender scores you 5 points for scoring a goal. Any player that misses a penalty, whether he's defender, midfielder, or striker, scores you minus points for missing a penalty. Then with midfielders score points for playing 60 minutes. They score 4 points for scoring a goal. They get points for assists and for everything else that I've discussed. And then with your strikers get 3 points for a goal. So defenders score you 5 points for a goal, midfielders 4, strikers 3, right? I don't know how much a goalkeeper scores you gets you for a goal. I can't remember the last time a goalkeeper scored a goal in this. I would have thought if a goalkeeper scores a goal, it'd be like what, big time money. Big time points. Big time money? Yeah, big time points. So, and again with strikers, they get points for playing more than 60 minutes. You get 2 points, and you get points for assists and that. And like I said, by the same token, any player that misses a penalty will get minus points. The other thing you get is based on Opta and stuff like that. Players score points whilst they're playing, but not points that we see. They score like bonus points. So if your player has been the player of, or deemed to be the player of the match, they'll get 3 bonus points. If your player is deemed to be the second best player in the match, they'll get 2 bonus points. And if your player is deemed to be the third best player in the match, they'll get a point. So you score the points and the points rack up quickly. With the 15 players, so I've just got 15 here just to get me going. With the 15 players, up until deadline, up until the game day itself, you can transfer any of these players that you wish. Yeah. So I've got to look for like. So let's say, for argument's sake, today, because we're still playing today, and the games haven't kicked off. If I wanted to take out Mickey van der Ven, I could take out Van der Ven and I could replace him today, and I would not get penalised any points. Yeah, it's as easy as that. Changing your players around is as easy as what I'm showing you here. Yeah, and you can change your players, you can change your team as many times as you want before the first kickoff, which is on Friday the 16th. So it will always tell you, my arrow's up here, I don't even see it. It says game week 1. And it says Friday 16th of August, 18:30. So you have up until that time to change your team and prepare your team for game week 1. And down the bottom, you've got game week 1 with all the times and kickoffs. Once you've selected your team is locked in, and therefore you cannot make any more changes until all the games are finished, which is the last game that weekend, is Leicester Tottenham. Once that game is finished and all the points for the week have been ratified, that's when you can start changing your team or making transfers again. With transfers, usually you can make 1 transfer a week free of charge. It won't cost you any points for making 1 transfer, right? If you go above the 1 transfer or the legitimate transfers per week, each transfer will cost you minus 4 points before the kickoff of the next week. Yeah. Now, some of you have played this before, so some of you know exactly what I'm talking about. But for those that don't, it really will come to you. It really will come to you. But yeah, so it's there. So yeah, the link is on the community page for people to enter. What we're saying, Daniel was saying you might as well ask Jose, the people who run that website, to put me at the top place already, mate. and I'm definitely not doing FPL. That's fair enough. FPL, I'm not doing it because I always forget. With FPL, right, Daniel? Again, when we do shows, because the season would have started, when we do shows, we'll be turning round and we'll be saying to people, it's obvious. When the season starts, all channels will get busier. So when you're watching this channel, I'll be saying to people, don't forget fantasy, don't forget predict the league. I'll be saying that as well as doing my own show. So therefore, you will all have time to do it. It's worth entering. It's a load of fun. Lee Whiskey says, big up Jose in the chat, and then says, thank you for his gifted membership, by the way, very kind. Right, your gifted membership was given to you by either Tigaro or David Shear. I think it was on a show that we did Saturday. It was on Saturday, I think, Lee. One of them gave out 6 memberships and the other one gave out 5. They're trying to outdo each other. And one of them 2 people were the ones that gave you out to you. Adrian is here. Good afternoon, Jose. Good afternoon, Adrian. I hope you're well, sir. Really good being on your channel yesterday. The show went really, really well, mate. Neil, hi Neil, says, hello Jose, I definitely want to join these competitions, but I'm on my way to work at the moment and the signal is terrible. As long as the links are there to do so, I am joining before the season starts. Yes, Neil, they are both on the community page. They're the last 2 posts I put on there. I will go through this podcast when I get home and probably sort out what I need to do on the weekend. Come on, you Spurs. Thank you, Neil. Thank you, Neil. Like I said, they're both on the community page. Mark says, I will build myself up and tackle the community page later. I'll let you know how much swearing is involved. and and Lee says, thank you for my gifted membership, by the way, very kind. And then Ronnie says, good afternoon, Jose. Good afternoon, Ronnie. Right, what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop sharing for a minute, right? Because I can come back to that after. I'm just looking through Twitter. Oh, no, I've just taken it off. What have I done? Oh, I had a page open where there was some confusion and it's now gone. Yeah, where was that page I had? I bet the page that I had won't come up now, and I can't remember who it was. It was something to do with Neto. Let me see if I can find it again. Right. There's a lot of people saying the same thing again, aren't they? No. Let me see if I can find it again. I saw in my WhatsApp groups there's a lot of noise about people talking about Solanke's being accelerated. I don't think Solanke's being accelerated at all. Honestly, right? These people, you've got loads of different people saying loads of different things, and everyone's trying to outdo each other. And you know, we're no nearer knowing who we've got. So I hope we get people, but we're no nearer knowing who we've got. So João Neves has signed for PSG from Benfica. They got him for a 60 million fixed fee and 10 million add-ons. And Renato Sanchez has gone to Benfica on loan with an option to buy the other way. So PSG, they're not Tottenham, are they? PSG, they've got different ownerships to what we've got. They're completely different ownership. So Matt Law's saying that Tottenham are attempting to make progress in a move for Dominic Solanke. Matt Law. But there was one post, and I had this post ready. I had this post ready for everyone, and I had this post ready to discuss, and now the post has gone by because I was talking to you guys. I didn't look to see who would put the post up, so I don't know how I can find it again. But it was about Wolves and Wolves are accusing Tottenham of messing around, saying they dip in, they dip out, they dip back in, they dip back out. And it was quite interesting to see the comment that was there. And I can't remember where it came from. Oh, wow. Middlesbrough are closing in on a deal to sign 2003 born striker Micah Hamilton from Manchester City. Micah Hamilton's looked a really good player when I've seen him play when he's come on and got minutes. It's a permanent transfer with a buy and sell on clause being discussed. They're going to get themselves a decent player, Middlesbrough. Micah Hamilton. They'll get themselves a different player. It looks like, I'm not 100, but it looks like Conor Gallagher is going to Atletico Madrid. Apparently, he said yes to them. He was expected to fly to Madrid, and he hasn't flown as yet. So we were linked with Miss Senor Gallagher for quite a while, weren't we? Destiny 5 says, Hola, Jose. Hola, Destiny. I hope you're well, sir. I hope you're well. Another report 5 hours ago. Adrian, if you're still here, it says Noel John is close to leaving Tottenham on a permanent basis. So what I did say when we played against Hearts, Noel John and Iago Santiago were the two unused subs, and then they were not included in the QPR squad. They were sent back to the under-21s, and I turned around and said at the time, that's weird because I think they're 21 already. Can they still play for the under-21s? It looks like Tottenham are selling and moving both players on because Iago went to Elche last week, and it looks like Noel John is following him out of the club as well. Let's see the who else we got here? There's the funny thing is Tottenham. I don't know when I've not seen anything on Twitter unless you guys can tell me. I'm not seeing anything on Twitter. We obviously played on Saturday, so we would have finished our game 49 hours ago, right? Because we would have finished the game at 2 o'clock on Saturday afternoon English time, and it's now 20 to 4 on a Monday. So it would have been just under 50 hours. It would be 50 hours that we finished the game in 20 minutes time. And I've not seen anything about or anything from Tottenham about the players returning to Tottenham from being on the tour. And I've not seen anything from Tottenham as yet. They've not released any videos of the returning players from La Copa and from the Euros. I know Brentford have released a video of Ivan Toney returning to Brentford this morning. The other thing is we're looking for a striker, aren't we, people? Right? I'm going to put it out there to you guys. There's a lot of noise, and I'm not saying this is true, but there's a lot of noise coming out of Man City that Alvarez wants to leave and wants to go and get himself more minutes and first team football. Is Alvarez someone that you'd consider? He's 23 years old. He's a World Cup winner. He's a Copa Libertadores winner. He's a Champions League winner. He's an FA Cup winner. World Club Championship winner. He's a League Cup winner. And he's a Community Shield winner. He has won everything you need to win with his club and country by the age of 23. And he also won the Copa Libertadores, obviously, in South America before he came over here. He's won the World Cup and he's won the Copa America as well. He's taken everything, and he's won absolutely everything. So what would you guys be interested in him if we're looking for a striker? Destiny says Alvarez would be 70 million and 250k, so basically out of Levy's budget. Now, Destiny, what I'm going to say to that is that I think Tottenham have had players on 200 grand a week, and maybe slightly more than that, but definitely on 200 grand a week. and the rest of it has been made up by bonuses, which took Kane. People were saying that Kane was on at least 300k a week with the bonuses that they had put in for him. So don't shoot me. I'm just saying the noise is that Alvarez wants more first team football. He's not said he wants to go to Champions League club. He's not said he wants to go to one of the superstar teams. He's not said anything like that. He's just basically saying he wants to play more first team football. He feels he should be a starter rather than being used here, there, and everywhere, which he believes that's how Man City have used him. Man City, their number 9 is going to be Haaland and always will be whilst he's there. So they're just, at the end of the day, Alvarez just wants first team football. And if he wants first team football, I'm just surprised that, we, and I'm talking about we because we don't know nothing. We in chats and we on YouTubes and we on streams and that, I've not heard anyone talk about him. And I've just seen another comment here, and I'm just thinking to myself, is it, should we be looking at him? Is what I'm saying. You got Alvarez would be, then you think Arsenal will get him. Ryan G says, I don't think they'll sell him to Arsenal this time, this Destiny, now that they're direct competitors for the league with City. Yeah, Brian, no transfer news. I'm just going through all the transfer news at the moment, but every club, which doesn't include Tottenham at the moment. Ben says, afternoon, everyone. The silence is deafening and incredibly frustrating. And Dan says, yeah, screw it. Alvarez completed football by 23. I see no reason why he can't waste the rest of his career at Tottenham. It's true, though. At 23, the man's won everything, isn't he? I'm sure he's won the World Cup, the Copa America. He's won the Copa Libertadores. He's won the European Champions League. He's won the Premier League, FA Cup, League Cup, World Club Championship, and the Community Shield. I think he swept the board. He's got absolutely everything by the age of 23. Jazz Fusion says, I'm sure City would be delighted to negotiate a striker sale with Levy. Well, I'm just throwing it out there. Would it be someone that you guys would look at? Because he wants to go, like I said, he's not talked about wanting to go European Champions League clubs or any of these, he's not saying I want to go Real Madrid, Barcelona's, Bayern's and stuff like that. He just says I want to go somewhere where I get first team football because he's not happy with not getting enough minutes at Man City. And if it's a case of, Man City are looking for 70 million for him, is it someone that we should consider? Obviously, like anything, because Man City do it themselves as well. You'd pay in instalments, wouldn't you? You'd pay in instalments for players. If you had to make the 70 million up over 5 years, God, you could pay him out 15 million for 4 seasons and 10 million in the last season, and that's it. You've paid it off. I'm just saying. Look, we keep hearing, and I'm talking about the ITKs. The ITKs out there are all talking about. They talked about Jimenez, Tony. It's now Solanke's on the list. There's previous players. The thing is, they've talked about so many different players. With this scattergun approach of Tottenham are interested, Tottenham are monitoring, Tottenham are this, Tottenham are doing that. There's a whole load of different things going on out there, right? And we're linked with so many players, but no one's said anything about Alvarez. But I know that Alvarez is looking to leave the club, or that's what the reports are all saying. He's looking to leave the club. So if that's the case, should we be looking at someone like that? That's all I'm saying. I mean, I think throughout chats and throughout other shows, I've seen that there's a lot of people that are opposed to signing Tony for one reason or another. Not everyone, but there is opposition to Tony. There is opposition for Solanke, right? There's opposition in a lot of different players, and I'm just trying to think, what player would unite us? If we were really going after a forward, what player would unite us as a fan base? Because I know that there's some other players that people have talked about Openda, right? And I know that there's a couple of you in the chat who absolutely love Openda, but I've heard negative. I've heard fans that have been negative about Openda as well. So I'm just wondering, I'm just throwing the name out there because he appears to be. A lot of the journals are saying that he's looking to leave, and are taking words that that came out of his mouth. So, Ryan G says, can't see Levy paying the money, but would be great signing if Spurs could get him. Ben would love Alvarez. He's class. Daniel says, the only trophy he's not won is the Europa League and the Conference League. Maybe he will want them with Spurs. Dan, you always bring it in. Destiny 5 says, I would take any City player from their bench. Brian would have the City striker. Jazz Fusion says, sure, it's a two-way street. Man City would jerk Spurs around, not going to do any favours. But do you know what? Would they be looking? And in all honesty, Jazz, if someone made the comment a few earlier and said, but would Man City look to selling them to a rival for supposedly do they deem a rival for the Premiership to them? And if that's the case, then that may rule out some of your other teams in the Premiership if he's going to make a Premiership move. I think Arsenal bought. Who did Arsenal buy? They bought Gabriel Jesus and Alexander Zinchenko from Man City. I think whether they get a 50 million deal with both of them or something like that. And they went to Arsenal, and it could be deemed that Arsenal got better by having them two. I think Arsenal got better because they bought a multitude of players, not just them two. Because I don't see Zinchenko and Jesus being first team starters week in, week out. I've got a feeling that with Arsenal at the moment, they would rather play Havertz instead of Jesus. They trust Havertz more than Jesus up front. I think they also trust in the left back position Kivior, Urian Timber, Tomiyasu. They're all trusted ahead of Zinchenko. But what it did at the time when they bought them two players and others that they bought in as well, they did close the gap somewhat with Manchester City over the last 2 seasons that they've had these players. So I'm not sure whether Man City would be, even if they offered them the money, I don't think Man City would be wanting to do Arsenal, Liverpool's and people like that, people that they may deem direct contact. I don't think they want to do them any favours and help them out. But good old Tottenham, regardless of what Levy and has to do with the Saudis, regardless of that, at the end of the day, money talks and bullshit walks is what they say, don't they? So Ben says, sorry, Destiny says he'd love to sign him. Ben says, I'm interested in a very tasty sandwich. Eze would unite us, but it's never happening. Daniel says, of course, any Spurs fans will take Alvarez. It's not happening, mate. I didn't say that it's not happening, Dan. I said, we're talking about other players, and players are against, fans are against certain players coming in for their own reasons. When I don't think I've seen fans 100 on, bringing Tony, or 100 on bringing Solanke, 100, let's bring in Jimenez. People have always got, you've got a percentage of people that don't want any of these three strikers and other players that we're being linked to. And I'm just wondering to myself, what player would unite us? Do you know what I mean? Use us as Danvas, says Carl Simpson. Alan, Raptos Madness, Alan. Hi, Jose. Happy Monday. Alvarez is a great goal. I think he's young and fantastic. I'd love him at Spurs. Much love. I hope you and the family are well, Alan. I hope you're well. Us use us as a fan base. I never agree. No one will like everyone, says Carl. Ryan G says, I love Openda, but he couldn't score against the mighty Wolves the other day. Well, them fans who talk negative about Openda must not watch German football then, mate. Simple as. Good afternoon. It's not good afternoon. It's still good morning for you, Leo. Good morning, Leo. Says hi. Says Jose. Big up, bro. Leo, it was really good to be on the show with you earlier. I know it's early in the morning for you. Have you got a day off today, or are you working today? But it was nice to see you earlier. Carl Simpson says, I would take Alvarez and Grealish. Jazz Fusion says, if I'm them, I'd sell him abroad or he stays. Ben Kaufman says, I'd love to have Jack Grealish to Five Guys. David Clark says, Julian Alvarez is only on 100,000 a week. I don't know what his transfer fee would be. They reckon they're looking, up towards 70 million for him is what they reckon. But I reckon the deal could be done for him. I reckon you could get a deal done for him. I don't know. It depends. If he comes to the Premiership, it could be upwards towards 70. If he goes abroad, I reckon someone could get him for 50 if he went abroad. Rob Belcho, not seen you in a while. Rob, good afternoon, my friend. I hope you are well. Says, when we were first linked with Solanke, my thoughts were mainly positive. He fits Angie's profile perfectly. But because he plays for Bournemouth, and then Ryan G's saying, yes, 70 jibs is what he's saying there as well. I'm trying to see if I can find that bloody thing about Pedro Neto, because it's coming from Wolves, and they certainly weren't happy. Certainly weren't happy at all. Let me have a look. Refresh this if it comes back up. Whilst we're there, we have Tony at Early Doors Football TV. Good afternoon, Tony, mate. I hope you're well. I hope you're well. West Ham are doing bits and pieces. You must be. Are you happy with the bits and pieces that you're doing, Tone, at West Ham? Scott M says Alvarez would be amazing for us, but zero chance Levy does it, and less of a chance Alvarez agrees to come to a Levy Ange team. Good morning, Scott. I hope you're well, sir. Daniel Quinn says, I've been watching Openda closely since we played Vitesse in the Conference League over 3 years ago. Trust me, he succeeds in the league. About to be 9 a.m. here, taking some days off as I've just had a little baby girl. Oh, fantastic. I didn't do any of the pushing, but still took some personal. Leo, many congratulations to you. I hope mummy and your daughter are healthy, and that's a blessing. That's a blessing. That's fantastic news, Leo. Everyone, let's congratulate Leo on a little homie, bringing in a little homie to the world. Yeah, all the very best to you, your partner, and to the baby. Well done, Leo. Well done, mate. AJ has said that he's just joined both leagues. Whilst I was on here, I got an email because for Predict the League, it emails me to tell me that people have joined, and I saw an email come through earlier, AJ. So you just must have gone to the fantasy after, because I saw it come through. Dragons D Nuts says 50 million max for Alvarez. Man City barely play him. Ben says Solanke's a pathetic sign on every metric. If you want him, fine, but get him in early before he went on holiday, because he wasn't at the Euros. Brian Maguire says Spurs have spoken to Neto's representatives. I'm trying to find it. I really, honestly, it was a publication that came out from someone. I think it might have been some Wolves publication, and they were absolutely pissed off with the Pedro Neto situation, saying that Tottenham. It was more or less saying that Tottenham have dipped in, dipped out, dipped in, dipped out, and that they're not happy with it because they think they're destabilising the player. And I'm trying to find where I saw it, but it was a big old piece on it, and they were not happy at all. So they're now reporting, Sky Sports News and Sky Sports Live are now reporting that Brighton are in talks to sign Matt O'Reilly from Celtic. And just breaking Tottenham on tour. I've just seen Tottenham on tour have posted that their tonight's evening Bruins will not be going ahead because it's a bank holiday in Canada, and the lovely Brian Daigle 8 is spending it with his lovely wife. Fantastic. I hope you have a really, really good day, Mr. Daigle. Not that you're listening to this at the moment, but I wish you all the very best to you and your wife today. Have fun, sir. Have fun. I'm still trying to see if I can bloody catch that post up. But anyway, I'll see if I can find it. Ryan G says, did he not play most minutes for City last season, Dragons these nuts? I'm not sure whether he did. Luke says, Gyökeres should be our number one target. Do you know what? I'm going to put this back to you guys, right? And I'll ask you the question. What's the difference, right? And I need to understand this, and I'd like to understand this. Gyökeres was a championship player 2 seasons ago. No Premiership clubs seem to put any interest in buying this player. This player's gone to Sporting, and now all of a sudden he's the best striker, or one of the best strikers in Europe, according to some fans, right? If you look at the pathway that Solanke's had, Solanke played in the Championship and scored goals, but then Solanke's had 2 seasons in the Premiership, but last season he actually done it. He scored 19 or 20 goals, or whatever it was last season. So at the end of the day, I don't see what the difference is in Gyökeres, and it seems to be. I'm not too sure because I'm not hearing. My brother-in-law is a Sporting Lisbon fan. He's Portuguese, and Sporting Lisboa is his team, and he's not jumping up and down in sense that people may be looking at Gyökeres, and it seems to be that if there's any interest, if there is any interested parties, it will only be parties from the Premiership and not from any of the other leagues. So I'm just, to me, it's interesting. There's a lot of people congratulating Leo, which I'm really happy about because that's what we are, a community here. So yeah, lots of congratulations are going out to Leo, and that's rightly so. Tony from Early Doors Football TV with his West Ham badge there says, pleased with the business, Jose. They are back in Lopetegui. Can't deny that. Let's see if they can get them working as a unit. So you're happy with the business that you've done so far. I don't even know how many players West Ham have bought. I know that there's 2 mooted to be on their way now, but I don't know how many people they've bought before that. The baby's name is London. How sweet is that? I'm not even going to ask why. I might ask you privately in a WhatsApp message, but I'm not going to ask you on live here why. David Clark says, just to say, R.I.P. Graham Thorpe, great cricketer and a great bloke, only 55 years old. Yeah, Graham Thorpe passed today. It was sad news when I heard that this morning. He was an excellent cricketer, and he was the person that found Joe Root. For anyone that's interested in cricket, Joe Root was found and was put into the England squad in 2012 for the India tour because Graham Thorpe had seen him play in under 19s tournament that England were playing in, and his county, at the time, his county level was crap. He hadn't done nothing in county, and he didn't have high stats at all in county. But Thorpe saw something in him, and Thorpe brought him in to the 2012 India tour, and the rest, as I say, is history. Root has been there ever since. I don't know. Brian Maguire says, from another Spurs YouTuber, what am I missing? What is Daniel says, I'm getting bored of hearing we're talking to this, we're doing that, we've done sweet FA. Levy doing Levy things, shocking, says Jazz. Ben is reminding us, I am Tottenham on Tour's representative in the chat. Why not invite Brian Daigle on here in the future? Brian, I'm not sure how many times you watch me on El Tel Cockerel, but Brian has been on here quite a few times. So yeah, I'm not sure because yeah, he's been here quite a few times on here. I'm just saying that I've read it out on shit out what he's that Tottenham on Tour have not got their program on tonight and the reasons as to why. And then I'm wishing Mr. Daigle all the best to him and his wife. Ben Coffin says Alvarez was City's 5th most played player last season according to statmuse.com. It's just what he's saying, Ben. He's the one that's saying it. So cheers, Scott. I knew I seen something where he was up there for minutes. Okay. Dragon D says, I don't think Solanke is a target. If he was, it would have already happened. It would be different if his name was Domenico Solankino. Jose, 4 signed with a further 3 to 4 still to come. Yeah, I don't know. I honestly don't know who West Ham signed, so it'd be interesting to see. But Neto's story I heard from another YouTuber. Okay, I don't know what you've heard. But as I said, for me, the Neto, I'm trying to find the Neto thing. There was definitely a post that I had here signaled and ready, and I was going to talk about it, and I can't find it anymore. But I know that it's Wolves were unhappy because they said that Tottenham were dipping in and dipping out and destabilising the player. Yeah, they were the player was being destabilised because Tottenham were coming in and then they were stepping away, going cold, and then coming back again. Isn't that what a lot of clubs do? A lot of clubs trying to find out the situation with players. Right, so here he is. So at the moment, Tony, West Ham have signed Guilherme. Obviously, sounds like a Brazilian or Portuguese name. Fodringham, who I believe is a goalkeeper. Didn't he play for Rangers or Sheffield United and people like that? And then you've got Kilman from Wolves, okay, and Somerville from Leeds, okay. I don't know, have West Ham released any players? I don't know. There's a lot of players to come. If you're bringing 8 players in, surely you must have got rid of some as well. I thought only Ben Johnson had left on a free, but I might be wrong. I don't know. Brian Maguire says, I heard Neto was talking to Spurs representatives according to a YouTuber. Yeah, and what the post I saw, Brian, right, is saying that Wolves are unhappy because Tottenham dipping in and dipping out, dipping in and dipping out. So it appears that they're talking to, and then they're stepping away, and then they've come back to talk to him again. They've stepped away. Then they've come back in, and they're doing that instead of just having a full-on conversation. It appears that they've dipped in and dipped out, and that Wolves weren't unhappy because they're saying it's destabilising the player. And I'm still trying to find that bloody post because it was on here earlier. Maybe I should learn to bookmark these things because if I bookmark these things, then it would be easier. Just saying, the other one I was going to say to people out there, right? If we're looking for that extra player in midfield, right? I know some of you, or quite a few of you, love Eze, right? But if this could be done, would any of you consider Fabian Ruiz? Because it looks like Fabian Ruiz is a player that PSG are willing to let go. And he can go for about 35 million euros. So Ben says West Ham are putting our transfer to shame. It's embarrassing. Jazz says Neto wants Arsenal. Arsenal have other irons in the fire. And Tony has said Johnson, Ogbonna, Fornals, and Benrahma gone plus some academy players. Yeah, but without the academy players, so you've got 4 players that have gone out, and you've brought 4 players in so far. I mean, I don't know because I'm not a West Ham supporter, so I don't know how many you would have had in your squad of 25 last year, and how many more you might need to get rid of to accommodate your 25. I'm not sure. You'll have a better idea of that, Tony. But it looks like it's 4 out and 4 in from what you're saying. But do you have the room for the other 3 or 4? Or do you have to move some other players on just to get your 25 right? Yeah, would any of you take Fabian Ruiz? Sunil, where is Talk and Ball? Sunil, this is El Tel Cockerel. It's a channel that's different to Talk and Ball. Talk and Ball has his own channel, my good man Colin, and I'm not sure whether Colin is today, but Colin has been busy with life and busy with other things, and I'm sure that Colin will be back once the season starts kicking off. He'll be back. I think he's got other things and other stuff to deal with at the moment. So yeah, but he'll be back. But yeah, for Talk and Ball, I think you need to hit the notification bell on Talk and Ball to find out when he's next on. Yeah, Fabian Ruiz is a player that I'd love to have him. And Destiny's saying Ruiz is quality all day. And Scott M says Fabian Ruiz would be great, but can't imagine he wants to come to us. Well, do you know what, Scott? It's interesting because Fabian Ruiz wasn't getting game time at PSG, and it seems Vitinha was more involved than Ruiz was last season for PSG. So um, therefore, um, he's looking for a move, and he's done really well. I mean, he's not the youngest player, Ruiz. Ruiz is in mid-20s, I think, or if not, just gone past his mid-20s. And now that they've bought João Neves at PSG and Vitinha's in front of him as well, Ruiz is looking for first team minutes again. You know, you could probably. What I will say about Ruiz could probably get a pick if people came in through from Spain and from other leagues, right? if Ruiz, I don't know what Ruiz is on, but I can't see that Ruiz would have been on a big contract at PSG. But you know, if Ruiz could get 150 grand a week, he's going to get it in the Premiership. He's not going to get that from moving to La Liga. He ain't going to get that from moving to any of the other leagues at the moment. So, you know, at the end of the day, I think that with them making the signing of João Neves and Vitinha getting in before him and that, he wants first team minutes. He's another one. So these are players that I'm saying that at the moment are not in the conversation. So I've given a striker that's not in the conversation. So Alvarez, who wants more minutes, clearly says he wants more minutes. You've got Ruiz, who's prepared to leave because he wants more minutes. But these people are not being fired at with the bullets that these AK-47 people are spraying. They're not spraying these two names, are they? There's other players out there. Inner Hype's not here, right? But Inner Hype, he's a scout, right? And he scouts all the leagues. And he made an interesting comment on another show that I saw. And he said something along the lines of, why are Tottenham looking at probably unachievable, not that he knows himself, but he says, why are Tottenham looking at unachievable targets rather than looking at targets that do fit the way that Postecoglou wants to play? And I kind of look at it, I think to myself, that's got some merit to me, what he says, what that comment said, but we don't really know what we're going for. Daniel, of course, says Colin seems to be more bothered about his anime channel these days than talking ball. No, it's not. He is interested in his anime, and I will say he is interested in that. But also, as well, he's got a lot of things going on personally at home that he needs to deal with and stuff like that. And therefore, he's dealing with all that and wants to get all that out of the way before he comes back. And he just feels it's pointless coming on and doing things when there's nothing to talk about at the moment. So, and yeah, he is working on the anime channel he's got as well. But Colin will be back. Colin will be back. Rest assured, he'll be back. Carl Simpson says Ruiz would be a great player for us. And then there's some talking amongst each other. Scott M says, I think he will be looking to move on from PSG. But at his level, after just winning the Euros, I can't imagine Spurs is the profile of club we look at. I'll let you in a little story, Scott, because I believe that I'm older than you, mate. But there was two boys, right? Once upon a time, there was these two boys. And they won the World Cup. And straight after winning the World Cup, they both signed with Tottenham. So we're not talking about winning the Euros and coming to Tottenham. These two boys won the World Cup and came to Tottenham and revolutionised Tottenham when they came here. Just saying, just putting it out there. It's a nice one. I wish, a bit of sprinkling some of that dust on us again would be great. Destiny says Lang is the worst scout I've seen in years. Johnson, Veliz, Phillips, and Solomon is not good business. And Werner, he's put Werner in there as well. Ronnie says Fabian Ruiz is on 150, and I think that's 150 euros a week at PSG. That's what I'm saying. If someone pays 150 grand a week for this chap, right, then he'll move and play. And I think the only teams that can afford to pay that 150 million a week are, and pay a fee for him as well, and they're the English clubs. I don't think you're going to get foreign clubs paying it. It's interesting because Dani Olmo hasn't moved anywhere yet, and Dani Olmo, you know, it was 60 grand or 60 million for Dani Olmo, and he hasn't moved anywhere. There was talk about Barca. Nico Williams hasn't moved anywhere. There was talk about Nico Williams, and he hasn't moved anywhere as yet. And if Barcelona can't get both of them players, so you know, at the end of the day, I don't know. Some players will either get better contracts at the clubs that they're at because you start putting clubs against clubs, so to speak, and you start putting other clubs in the conversation, and it just helps negotiations for a new contract come along. But there's some players that were being talked about pre-Euros and during the Euros and post-Euros, and it's all gone very quiet on these players, and a lot of them seem to be Spanish players, and it's gone really quiet. The other thing is you got Man United were making moves, and now they've lost Euro for 3 months. They've lost Højlund for the first 6 weeks of the season minimum, and all of a sudden the other players that they've gone for, it's like the talk's dried up. De Ligt, the talk's dried up. Ugarte's been hanging on every word Man United have been saying, and apparently he's like hell bent on trying to get out of PSG on a loan. Ugarte, he's a 6. He plays 6. He was a monster 6 when he was at Sporting. A couple of years, 2 and a bit years ago, I was calling for Son to be sold because I said he was declining. And I said, if we get 100 million from Saudi back then, this is back then, 2.5 years ago. I said, if we can get 100 million for Son and we sell him to the Saudis. So this was when he had the Master. This was the World Cup time. So it was 2 and a bit years ago, right? And I said, with that 100 million, I'd go and invest and I'd buy Mohamed Kudus and Manuel Ugarte. And Kudus has now gone since that's happened. Kudus has left Ajax. He's gone on to West Ham. And Ugarte left Sporting and went to PSG. And to be brutally honest, I don't know because I haven't checked up on him. But I dread to think that he's possibly not paid even 40% of the matches in the 2 seasons he's been there because they haven't selected him. And it doesn't matter what manager's gone there, they haven't selected Ugarte. And Ugarte, for me, is a monster 6. And Ugarte can play on his own. Ugarte doesn't need to have someone beside him. You look at that midfield for Uruguay, Ugarte, Valverde, and Bentancur. It's a machine for Uruguay. Uruguay are a top footballing nation. It's a machine for Uruguay having them 3 players. So Ugarte is another one that maybe you could look at as well, bringing in. And these players are not linked, and people are not spraying the bullets with these players. And there's other players. There's so many players that we can go for. Right? I know it's not to say that we're not going for them. We just don't know who we're going for. But there's a lot of players out there. Yes, Jazz Fusion, our dealers in Villa. They are the 2 that I was talking about. They won a World Cup and came to Tottenham. So it's been done before. Didn't Jurgen Klinsmann win a World Cup and then came to Tottenham after as well? He definitely won a World Cup. He won the Euros as well in '96, and he came to us in when '98. Or he came to us before? No, he came to us before. I think that Klinsmann came to us. Did they not win the 1994 World Cup, Germany? I think Klinsmann came to us as a world champion as well. So it can be done, I think. Ben says Paratici, for all his problems, brought in some proper players. Yeah, it's interesting, Ben, because I don't know. Since Langer's come in and the others, I'm not sure, and I don't know how much work Paratici's actually doing. We know that Paratici was at the forefront after he got his ban, and we brought him as consultant. He was at the forefront for a lot of things that were going on. He started all the academy turnaround and stuff like that. But you don't hear much of him anymore. So I'm not too sure how much, what bits and pieces he's actually doing for Tottenham now, if anything. I'm not sure. Obviously, it could be that without Paratici not doing the bits and pieces, it could be that's why we've been so slow in the market. Where if Paratici was more involved, maybe he would have been further ahead. Would you like to have Gavi in Spurs? I would take Gavi and Pedri all day long and 6 Sundays in a month if I could have Pedri and Gavi at Tottenham. Pedri and Gavi look after the ball. And I said this on the stream earlier, football is about scoring more goals than your opponent in order to win a game, but it's also about looking after the ball. Every time we play football, and I'm playing tonight again, we always talk to our teammates about looking after the ball. Even when we're on the pitch and we're playing a match, look after the ball. That's all we're shouting at each other is look after the ball. I.e., keep that ball. Don't lose the ball. Don't give the ball away. Look after the ball. If you look after the ball, then the game looks after itself. So Pedri and Gavi are past masters at looking after that ball, and they can progress the play as well. Yeah, I take Gavi, but Gavi and Pedri, I don't think are leaving Barcelona, not for a long time. I think Barcelona, with the problems that they've had financially, they're not going to be getting rid of Spanish players. They'll get rid of their foreign players before they get rid of their Spanish players because they've got a massive crop. You've got Balde, who plays left back. You've got Pau Kabasi, centre midfield. You've got Fermin Lopez. You've got Pedri. You've got Gavi. You've got other players that they're trying to bring in. They're all Spanish and they're all young. And they've got other players coming through from La Masia as well. That, yeah, for me, at the end of the day, I would take these players. But I don't think they're wanting to leave. You've got more chance of getting other players. You've got more chance of getting people like Rafinha. What's the midfielder called? The Dutch midfielder. I can't remember, the name escapes me, but the Dutch boy they got in midfield. Barcelona trying to get rid of him. Trying to say you're trying to get rid of him as well. He played for Ajax. Blonde-headed, looks like Bergvall. Bergvall looks like him, should I say? He looks as well. But anyway, Barcelona trying to get rid of Frankie de Jong. Thank you, Scott. Frankie de Jong. You've got more chance of getting players like Rafinha and Frankie de Jong from Barcelona than what you have of getting the Spanish boys. The Spanish boys at Barcelona ain't looking to get rid of them, but the foreign players, they are. Frankie de Jong, they've been trying to get rid of Frankie de Jong for about 3 years, but Frankie de Jong's got them over a barrel because Frankie de Jong's contracted to them, and they're trying to get him out of the club because they gave him they brought him in and they gave him a ridiculous contract. I think he's on something nearing 600,000 euros a week. And now Frankie de Jong ain't no mug. He knows he's not going to get that money anywhere else. And Barcelona are now thinking to themselves, we overcooked this. We've overcooked everybody, in fact, because everybody who they bought around that time, they put on these superb, big, massive wages, and it's causing them problems. So, you've got more chance, to answer your question, you've got more chance of getting some of the foreign players out of Barcelona than what you would have had from the Spanish players. Destiny 5 says, players are trying to copy Mbappe and run their contracts out for bigger paydays. I think since the Bosman, it's come in Destiny, to be honest with you. Since Bosman, it's been rife since Bosman, and rightly so. At the end of the day, if you're a person, regardless of what walk of life and what job you do, you've got a self-worth, that you are worth something. Because in all honesty, once your employer doesn't believe that you're worth anything anymore, they'll drop you. For it doesn't matter how many years you've given your employer, they end up dropping you like a stone, don't they? When they see no value in you anymore, they'll drop you like a stone. Regardless whether you've been at the club or you've been in your job, whatever you want to talk about, at the end of the day, you've got to look after number one, and that's yourself. It doesn't matter how loyal you may be to your employer and stuff like that. You need to look after number one, because you could get dropped like a stone. Destiny says, I love Bentancur and I just hope he stays fit. With Bentancur, right, what I'm going to say to you, Destiny, with Bentancur, right, I said last year with Bentancur, any minutes he played last year, right, or any time we saw him on a pitch last year, I said would be a bonus, right, both for himself, and for us, because it just meant that we had an extra player on the pitch, and with it's an extra player on the pitch. But then the minutes that he was getting, any minutes that he got would aid and abet his recovery from the 2 horrific injuries he's had. Now, it's a bit like, and I'm going to turn the coin now, it's like Chiesa. Chiesa had a horrific injury. Chiesa had a horrific injury 2 years ago. Last season, he played 31 games. Them games were a blessing. Yeah. Them games gets him fitter and gets him more towards being the player that he was. Right. The same belief for me is, like I said all last season, was on Bentancur. That Bentancur needs more minutes, needs to gather his strength. These injuries that these players have had are not like a 4-month injury in there. They're like a year to return back. If you're going to get back to where you were before, it's going to take about a year, even sometimes 18 months. So for Bentancur last season, for me, everything was a blessing, the minutes that he got. I'm now expecting and hoping that Bentancur will step up and that he's got no ill effects from the La Copa America, and in the sense playing wise, I'm not talking about the other stuff, and that he comes back and that he's fighting fit and firing on all cylinders. I think a fully fit Bentancur can really help out Tottenham, right, and can really help us out in the midfield if we've got him. But it remains to be seen. I've not seen him wear a Spurs shirt yet this season because they only got back to the ground today. So, yeah, it'd be interesting to see what he does, mate. But, yeah, that's what I was saying last season. Scott M says, yes, Poch is light years ahead of Ange. Tony says, yeah, Jose, I know a similar saying, look after your broom. Is that from Only Fools and Horses, or do West Ham saying that instead of saying look after the ball? I don't know. Frankie de Jong, thank you. Ange Ball said, Frankie, thank you very much. to help me out there. Daniel Costa, I respect Poch too much to ever ask him to work under Levy again. Talking ball. Here he is. How are you, talking ball? I hope you're well. I did tell people that you're very busy at the moment, right? I did tell people that, if you heard, said that you're very busy at the moment and there's not much going on, and you're doing other things at the moment, and that when you're ready, people should hit the notification bell on Talking Ball. I think you're on tomorrow. I think Talking Ball's on tomorrow doing a member show, if I remember rightly. But Colin, like I said, he'll be back when he thinks there's stuff to talk about. You're getting a big up from Mr. Simpson and some others here as well. Ben says Bentancur has more lumps in his knees than teenagers face, and I'm worried about the respect for him in the dressing room. We'll remain to see what happens when he comes back. Colin, so they're calling out Colin in the chat. Yes. So 1 minute ago from Give Me Sport, Ben Jacobs says Richarlison could still leave Tottenham. Alle are considering a bid. Cool. What would we do? What would we do if Richarlison left and we had no striker to rely on? Because we haven't got a striker in at the moment. What would then happen then? Interesting. If he was to go. Gus Parker. Good afternoon, Gus says, if things aren't good at Christmas, I can see Levy calling back to Proch. We had a show earlier. We was on another show. Some people in the chat watched that show, and some people were actually on that show. And there's quite a few people that are saying that that this is going to happen. I'm not one. I said, and for me, where I stick to, Gus, and to make it clear, I said it elsewhere, and I'll say this now again. If Ange starts the season, then for me, Ange finishes the season. I don't think he goes part way. I don't think he goes November, October, December, January, February. He starts the season. He will finish the season, is what I've said. If he's going to go, and I don't think he will, but if he's going to go, it would be before the season starts. I see no benefit in whatsoever, in Ange leaving during the season. Daniel Coy says we might as well sell our only senior striker. Just Fusion says it's Kulu's season. Carl Simpson, we will sell Richie and bring in 2 strikers and Netaneze. Dream over. And then you've got Ansball. It says, I knew and said not getting Champions League football will be detrimental to our future. We had to make a marquee signing as soon as the window opened because with Ange, there's no Champions League. We have a serious lack of pulling power. Add to that now the unrest amongst our fans. Moving to Spurs at this moment in time for any player is a massive gamble because we're in a right mess. Levy is killing our club. And Talking Paul says Levy is killing my chub. I think he meant club as well. And he says not enough difference between the two, Poch and Ange. AJ says it does make me laugh the amount of people who are praying for Poch to return. So many people are unbelievably disrespectful to him because he went to Chelsea. Interesting. I'm trying to find that bloody. Is this the Wolves comment? No. Something for you. If you're still here, Ryan. It says Wolves midfielder Joe Hodge is reportedly training with Scottish club Hibernian. Wolves and the player are currently weighing up their options for a potential loan move. That's interesting. So you've got a player training with another club before he makes the loan move. That's interesting. I've never seen clubs do that. Send them to another team before a deal is done. Ben Jacobs is now reporting that Dominic Solanke is open to a Tottenham move, but Spurs don't want to pay the 65 million. Interesting, that, isn't it? So you've got a tier 2 called What Lies Beneath, and this guy always says a whole load of different things. I don't know whether he's ever been right, but it says regarding Neto, an agreement is not far away on the player's side. Once sorted, we will enter to club talks with Wolves. He don't often get it right. This tier 2 called What Lies Beneath, but that's what he's saying at the moment. And I still can't see the post that I was looking for. And furthermore, I cannot see any photographs issued at the moment. Bearing in mind that other clubs have released some already from their players returning from the 2 major competitions, yet we've not seen any of our boys at Hotspur away today. And I don't even know, like I was saying earlier, we played 50 hours ago. We played 50 and a half hours ago. We would have finished our game against Bayern. And I don't even know when the players flew back and whether they're here already. Let me see where it is. No, there's nothing there. Right, let me see. I'll catch up with the chat. Carson says could be worse. We could still have Conte, who has threatened to resign again at Napoli. Oh, Carl, I don't think we'd ever get Conte back. I'll tell you what. Would you guys take him? I'm going to say it. Would you guys have Conte as your manager again after everything that's gone on? Would you have Conte as your manager again? Because I'll tell you what, me, I didn't mind Conte as a person, but football wise and everything, I weren't sure with Conte. But as a person, speaking the truth, speaking from chest, yeah, he spoke from chest. But God, I watched some really drub games when Conte was in charge. But there we go. Talking ball says Chelsea scum, mate. He said he wouldn't manage a rival. That's why we are pissed. Ooh, AJ says Kulu has been very impressive playing through the middle as a backup, and I think he's a decent option. I said a while ago during pre-season, I said that he provides another option with us not having a forward. And as I said on the show earlier, and I said this yesterday as well, for me, if we don't sign a striker who's in the club before the Bayern game on next Saturday, and either is involved in the Bayern game or at least is bought before then at the start of the season, doesn't matter whether you buy a striker beyond the Bayern game, the start of the season, your forward will be a false 9 Kulu because Richarlison is not fit, right? And with him not being fit, I'm really worried about going in with Richarlison anyway. I know we need a striker, and I keep banging on the drum. We need a striker. I actually think we need 2. I think we need a wide striker and a striker, or 2 players that can play across the line. We need them because we can't rely on Richarlison's brittle body. Richarlison is more on the sidelines than what he plays, and we need players that are going to play week in, week out for the team. If we could have 2 strikers that provide each other competition, but were always fit, then that would be good as well. So, at the end of the day, yeah, I'd rather. Well, Kulu looks like he's going to start unless we can bring another striker in. Kulu looks like the starter for the game against Leicester. AJ said he'd never manage Arsenal. I think he also said he'd never manage Barcelona when he was at Espanyol. Because Barcelona, when teams like Real were looking at him and that, Barcelona weren't because he actually said that. Price aside, would you all take Solanke? Question for everybody else. It divides opinions, Colin. There's a lot of people that don't want Tony. There's a lot of people that don't want Solanke. There's a lot of people that didn't want Jimenez. So it doesn't matter. I asked this question earlier, Colin. Is there a player out there that unites that people would be united by if we signed a player? Would everyone be united by it? So, and at the moment, there's not many players' names that are coming out that the club are united in. Yes, we want that player. It seems to be a lot of players that are wanted by certain fans and not wanted by others. So we've not got 100% buy-in on any. I've not heard 100% buy-in from anyone at the moment on any of the players. Probably aside of that, I'd say maybe Eze. Maybe you've got more traction with someone like Eze, more towards 100% of the fan base would like someone like Eze. But it's certainly nowhere near. I don't know where we stand, but we're nowhere near probably 60% with the other 3 strikers I've just mentioned. Gus says it would certainly be counterproductive. I think would only happen with a 2 points from 8 games scenario. Carl says if you really want Solanke, give him the remaining deadwood and reduce the price. Ansball says because Ange's lack of established credibility and no Champions League, we have serious lack of pulling power. Have we? Because he's the one that done all of the talking to bring people in, didn't he? A lot of the players that have come in have turned around and said that the reason why they came is because they've spoken to Postecoglou. Van der Ven said it, Vicario said it, and a few others have said it as well. So, you know, at the end of the day, I'm not sure whether that statement actually stacks up, to be honest. But we'll have to wait and see. Tony from Early Doors Football says, Richarlison, like Nketiah, both want to move on, but no one really wants to buy them. Just deadwood taking a wage. We are not spending 65 million on Solanke when we would part. We are not spending 65 on Solanke when we wouldn't part with 60 for Eze, is what AJ's saying. No way, Conte. He's a dreadful fit, says Carl. AJ says, no, never. Ben says, I didn't want Conte to go. He was just the wrong manager for the club. Scott M says, with Levy here, no, because he wouldn't get him what he needs. But Conte is a great manager and would do so much better than Ange did or will do. Conte deserves better than Spurs, says Scott M. Soyon Dorito, good afternoon, sir. So Solanke's Kane's replacement. What a joke of a club to bring in a mid-table striker. He's 65 mil, just 30 million less than Kane. No ambition, so angry with the owners. Talking about Scott, he took the job, he deserved the job he took. Just Fusion says Conte, yes. Secondarily, I'd want him to lock him in a room with Levy after telling him how much he really likes and admires Thomas Tuchel. Gus Parker is saying if they start the season without a class centre forward coming in, it's a farce again. Rakdos Man is saying like a Colin. You've got Ben Kaufman. He says Levy is the type of bloke to sack Ange and employ Tuchel. He's the biggest flip flop of them all. John Michael says, sell Richie. He ain't good enough when he plays. He's always injured. 50 million Saudi League. Yes, please. Good afternoon to you, John Michael. Rakdos Manis. Alan says, I'd take Tony, but not Solanke. Gabriel 1 says, big up, Jose. Good afternoon, Gabriel. Hope you are well, sir. Nice to see you. Ben says, the Spurs fan base are more divided than a Jewish family at a Friday night dinner. There is just less chair throwing. Some of these comments, Ben, you're making me laugh, mate. I don't know. Alan must be talking to someone. Solanke is Liverpool's rejects. I don't agree regarding the lack of pulling power, is what Colin's saying. Good afternoon, Steve D says, hi, Jose in the chat. Good afternoon, Steve. Nice to see you here, sir. I hope you're well. Angeball says, that's why we always pay over the odds for bang average players, because we are not an attractive proposition for players. We are not a very liked club, mainly because of Levy and the way he conducts himself. John Michaels, don't want Solanke again, average player. What's the problem with Tottenham apart from Vic, VDV and a doggy? Recent signings have been bad signings. Ooh, interesting, John Michael. AJ says, Eze Neto Solanke will never get done because Levy doesn't want to pay the money up front that the selling club's asking. Well, it begs the question, if people follow all the in the knows, AJ, it begs the question, because all the people in the knows had everyone eating the palm of their hand saying, Tottenham have got money. Tottenham are going to put down on marquee signing. Tottenham have got the funds. And this is coming from Romano. Romano was saying all this. Tottenham have got funds. And I'm not going to say this is not going to happen, but if you're saying that the three are not happening because we don't want to put the money down, then Romano, who's considered as one of these people that knows it all, supposedly, he was saying that Tottenham had money, Tottenham were going to spend money, Tottenham were going to make marquee signing. So, you know, do you all still believe in Romano? Because that's what he said. Steve D says City had no pulling power. Money talks. Exactly that. Money does talk and bullshit walks. Ansball, all those players are great, but they weren't top tier when we signed them. We never just go and buy our marquee signing. Gabriel one says Richie, Decky, and Sonny plus Solanke at 68 million valuation. I think he's talking about what the forward line could look like. John Michael says there are reports the Solanke deal is going to be closer to 50 mil. Don't want him, dog player. Ooh. Colin says I'd trade Solanke for Richarlison. Interesting. Ange Ball says never have Jose back. I'm sure you're talking about Mourinho and not myself. Ben says Solanke is a downgrade on Richarlison, Colin. Early doors football. Tony saying, Jose, great show. We'll catch you soon. Take care, mate. Yes, Tony, take care of yourself, sir. God bless you. And I'll catch up with you soon, mate. Scott M. What's Scott saying? You want to know how to get stuck with Deadwood? So you want to know how you get stuck with Deadwood and unable to get players you need? 65 million for Solanke, 60 million for Johnson, 50 million for Richarlison. Not a single one of them gets a sniff of starting for a big six. Jazz Fusion says never did. Scott M says, or even Newcastle or Villa. Colin says, I will have faith until there is no time left. I need to believe or the depression creeps in. Angeball, if we can see that Levy is BS scam artist with no real ambition of ever winning anything, obviously the players and people talk. Comments still there. Scott M says, even if we got it down to 50 million, it's way too much. AJ says, Jose, that's half the problem, mate. Everyone thinks they know something that someone else doesn't. I pay no mind to these ITKs, but there is a lot of people that do, AJ, and that's what we've been trying to say to a lot of people on different shows, is that there's a lot of people that believe everything that they're sold, but on shitter from, you know, I mean, tonight you're going to have, I'll say this now, tonight you've got Paul O'Keefe on Last Word on Spurs. Now, Paul O'Keefe, generally, really decent tier one source. Ornstein's supposed a really normally good at tier one source. Fabrizio Romano, people are going to say, Matt Law, people like that. And I tell you what, none of them at the moment have got anything right with Tottenham. Nothing. The only thing they've got right is when it's actually happened. So, in the sense of none of them got it right with Archie Gray, none of them got it right with Højbjerg. You know, the only time that they're getting right is when Tottenham announced something. So when Tottenham finally said, yeah, we are in for Gray, or yeah, we are selling Højbjerg to Marseille, that's when they got it right. When you're talking about the players that were being released and stuff like that, once Tottenham agreed to release them, then they got it right. You know, the Brian Hill deal, the time people were talking about the Brian Hill and stuff like that, but the time they got it right was when the club announced, yeah, and we've signed him and we've got a 15 million clause in him rather than selling him for 5. Then they put the story out because they got it right. So the leaks are not coming out from Tottenham, and people, these tier one journos are finding out when Tottenham tell them. And that's why, you know, there's been a lot of people up in arms, because as a team, and I understand it as a fan base, we want to know where we're going to be, what we're going to be doing for the first kickoff. You know, we need more players. And because we're not being told what the plans are, what the roadmaps are, and stuff like that, people are going absolutely, you know, Garrity. And I understand it. I'm not going to sit here and say, you know, people are wrong in thinking that way. I totally understand people thinking that way. But, you know, it doesn't mean that everyone thinks that way. And what I will always say, and I'll caveat this, and what I'll always say is the way that people are and people's thoughts are spread about on social media, right, are totally different. And they're a mile away from what the fans that go to the stadium think. Not all of them, but the majority of them don't think the same way that social media do, because they're not involved with social media. So they don't think that way at all. Sometimes social media can be a breeding ground for a cesspit breeding ground, and it depends how much people want to buy into what's in there. But each to their own. I say each to their own. Dekaru, the youngsters are looking good, but I'm disappointed we haven't really signed any senior players. Maybe a tough season coming, but the future looks good. Good morning. Is it good morning for you, Dekaru? I believe it is. I believe it's early in the morning for you, sir. I hope you are well, Dekaru. You need to get in contact with me about them spreadsheets. The season's starting soon, mate. But I hope you're well. Carl Simpson, I've seen plenty of players be shit at one club and come to a new club and blow up, so time will tell. John Michael says, what marquee signing? Archie Gray, don't get me wrong, looks a good player, but not ready for the Prem. He looked lost against Bayern. John Michael, what I will say to you on that is I felt that all the players in the first half, the only people that come out with any credit for me in the first half were Spence and Porro. I thought the rest of the team were absolutely way off it. Way off it. And that would include the midfielders. But that includes the three forwards we had playing as well. And that includes the two centre halves we had playing on the day. I just thought they were way off the pace. And they were way off it as a team. I thought the goalkeeper was way off it. I thought Vicario, shot stopping wise, he gave away the first goal. And shot stopping, he parried the ball, not strong enough, just parried it into the direction or ongoing traffic, I'd say, where people could run in. So at the end of the day, I was more impressed, and I said this on my show the other day. I was more impressed with knowing that we've now got a real number two or someone to challenge Vicario for the number one position in Brandon Austin. I thought Brandon Austin, his shot saving was superb, and he gathered the ball. And when a shot came in, he didn't parry, he gathered the ball, or the ball was right beside him, didn't parry it away, parried it towards his body, so he could then just retrieve it straight away. And I think that Brandon Austin has been a revelation since he signed his contract. We knew nothing of Brandon Austin, in all honesty, because he's not made appearances. He's like a ghost at the club. We knew nothing about Brandon Austin. Signs a 5-year deal, and we're all thinking to ourselves, what's going on there? How comes he signed the 5-year deal? Well, I can see why he signed the 5-year deal now, because he looks an excellent goalkeeper, and he looks like one that could challenge Vicario or give him a challenge. For me, you got a waste of space Forster at your club, who I don't think is good enough. I don't even know when he's coming back from his injury, but for me, he shouldn't be touching the first team at all. I think Brandon Austin's your number two. And Alfie Whiteman, who's another ghost who never appears at all. So for me, I think one of the revelations for me was Austin at Bayern and in the other games that he's played as well. But yeah, I don't think it's just Archie Gray. I think, and I'm not saying that Archie Gray's a marquee signing, and I don't think anyone is saying that he's a marquee signing, but it wasn't just Archie Gray, it's just a load of players. A load of players just weren't with it. But the caveat to that is, and I've got to be honest, John, the caveat I said to this earlier on another show. So I've got to be, and I said this on yesterday. I was on another show yesterday, not my own channel, but I'm on my own channel now. So I'm going to repeat what I said in the last two shows that I've been on as a guest. Is that Tottenham have done their pre-season already, regardless if they've got to play Bayern on Saturday. The bulk of their pre-season has been broken already because what they did is they went out for 2 weeks or 10 days, or whatever it may be, and they put double sessions into these players whilst away in what you'd say 37, 38, up to 42 degrees of heat and humidity. So the kind of training that they've done there would far superseded any training that they did here because the weather's been a lot lower here. So it's been high intensity training that they've done there, and it will stand them in good stead for when the season starts. And of course, if you're putting players through double sessions and stuff like that, and then want to chuck them into a first team game, they're going to look a bit knackered. But by the same token, you could then turn around and say, well, why did the second half they look fitter than the first half? So, at the end of the day, we'll see what we see. But no one, I've not heard anyone say that Archie Gray's a marquee signing, by the way. Scott M says that the only two ITKs worth listening to are Fabrizio and Ornstein. AJ is disagreeing with Ben. Ben, I disagree, mate. I think Solanke is a better all-round player and offers the team more than Richie. I mean, it's not by a lot, but I think he shades it. Still not the level that we should be signing. John Michael again says, I have never believed any transfer talk until I see a player holding the shirt. It's all speculation. John, exactly that. It's when they're holding the shirt or they're at Hotspur Way or they're next to the manager or whoever it may be, Langer, signing that piece of paper, their contract, then that's when we can believe it. Other than that, it's all going to be speculation. I will tell you, John, I like the olden days, mate. I don't know how old you are, but me, I like the olden days. I like it when a German turned up in a Volkswagen Beetle and his name was Jurgen Klinsmann and he signed with Tottenham and no one had any clue that he was coming. And then also as well, Van der Vaart, last minute signing of Van der Vaart. Nobody knew that Van der Vaart was coming. I don't think Tottenham themselves knew that Van der Vaart was coming. They're the kind of signings that excite me. When they signed and they're holding the shirt, it's absolutely brilliant. And I just hope that whoever comes in, I hope as fans of Tottenham Hotspur and supporting our team, whoever holds the shirt and whoever comes in, that we back them and we give them the opportunity to go out and do what they need to do. I will say that the two young players that we've brought in, okay, they're not marquee signings, guys, but the two players that we brought in, the one thing that we can guarantee 110% is that them two youngsters will play for Tottenham with pride and will play for the badge. They're not here to come and steal a living. They're here because they want to become better players. They want to become first team footballers to play week in, week out, and they will hold the club in the highest esteem whilst playing for them. So just get behind them. Whether you agree with the signings or not, give them a chance, get behind them. DJ Samuel says, great live stream as always. Thank you, DJ Samuel. Angelo, I'm going to catch up with these comments as quickly as I can, and then I'm going to try and give it one more plug for the competitions that we're doing. I've been going for an hour and 43. Bloody hell. Angelo, if we sign Solanke, the end is nigh. Ha ha. And I'm laughing out of frustration with seeing history repeat itself. Jazz Fusion says, fans knowing in advance kills the progress. Amazing it took the club this long to figure it out. Dakari says, sorry, Jose, been a tougher task than expected. All right, mate, no worries at all. If it is, then it is. Soyon Dorito says, what do you think of Bentancur? Can you see he can become the same player he used to be on Conte? He was a one-man army alone with that time. So amazing to watch him. Soyon Dorito, what I've said about this chap is he has been out with massive injuries. And last year, I turned around and I said on my streams that it's just a blessing to get minutes into his legs. And, anything, don't expect him to be the Rodrigo that he was before. Just get him minutes, will be good for him. It will help him with his physical condition to get more and more minutes, and that will help him with physical condition, but also will help him mentally, because what does being out with a major injury for like a year or slightly more than a year, what does it do to you? And then you come back and you give a masterclass with Giovanni Lo Celso against Aston Villa, and they get taken out by Matty Cash, which then puts you with another injury, which put you out for another period of time. So for me, it was always a plus for the amount of minutes, both physically for him and both mentally as well, because being out, something that you love doing, and that must be draining. They said the hardest thing to do for a footballer is to be out injured. So, and that must be zapping on the mind as well. So I said it was a positive. I am hoping that we've had a whole season of, of him trying to build up to where he was, right? And now he's played in the Copa America. He's coming back. He comes back to Tottenham Hotspur way, and if he comes back and he's fully fit and that, I think Bentancur could be like a new player for us next season. I also believe that especially the Argentinian boys we got, I've said this before, they are leaders. Whether people like it or not, the Argentinian boys we got are leaders, and so are the Uruguayan boys that we've got. Romero is a leader. Whether you like Lo Celso or not, Lo Celso is a leader. Bentancur is a leader. These players from South America are leaders, and I think that the two youngsters that we've bought will learn a hell of a lot. If Bentancur's at the club, will learn a hell of a lot under Rodrigo Bentancur. My three to start the game, and I said this about, I said this before, just before the Bayern game. My 3 to start at Leicester in midfield, the way things are at the moment, because we don't know whether to sign any more players, but I would start with Gray, Benton, and Bergvall. That's what I'd start with. I think uh, these 2 young boys that they brought in are there to upset the apple cart, are there to challenge for first team positions going forward, which can only be good for us because that's all we've ever asked for as a club. We've asked bring players in that challenge the first team, that challenge players, not players to warm benches, but players that will challenge. And I think these players have been brought in and they will upset a few because they'll get a few more minutes on what people think. And, you know, in the end of the day, last season, we could select the Tottenham team, barring injury, we could select the 1 to 11 that we were going to play with week in, week out, which to me meant either we're on a great run of form, and I'm talking absolutely knock it out of the park run of form, or we haven't got competition. So it's one of the 2 that you can look at. So I'm looking forward to Bentancur coming back. I think there's a lot they can learn from him. Angeball says we are a stepping stone club and always will be. I'm sick and tired of being lied to. I've been going through this almost 50 years, so I've definitely seen the pattern of rinse and repeat. I don't know, Angeball, 50 years ago, right, we were winning things. 40 years ago, we were winning things. 30 years ago, and I'm old enough to remember all this, Angel. 30 years ago, we were winning things. I've seen the good times. I've seen the bad times. I've seen some really good Tottenham sides. I've seen some atrocious Tottenham sides. And we're nowhere near an atrocious side now compared to some of the seasons that I've watched Tottenham play. But I appreciate everyone has opinion and everyone wants, and this is what I'm hoping, that everyone wants Tottenham to do well. Just a harmless potato. Big up Jose in the chat. Good afternoon. Just a harmless potato. Good evening. Good morning. Carl Simpson says, I'm hearing Veliz could be part of the Solanke deal. Not sure if permanent or a loan. Um, John Michael says, other teams on preseason are playing each other from the Prem. We play 4 average teams, barring Bayern, and we lose. I was about watching Spurs since the 80s, Jose. So I've been supporting Tottenham before that, John. I'm obviously older than you, mate. So basically, if you've been supporting Tottenham since the 80s, John, then you would have seen some really good times as well when we've won things, you know. And for the younger people, the younger supporters, they may not have seen as much success as what us older people want. And they want success. And I understand that because I want success as well. But I want success and I just want everybody to, I just want or would like the fans just to get behind the team and the people that wear the badge. Anything else is all politics for me. You know, at the moment, it's all politics and it's outside noise. For me, I'm just concentrating on the players that go on the pitch, wear the badge with pride, and we'll put a shift in with pride. Colin Blackshaw says, good afternoon, Jose. I hope you're well. Good afternoon, Colin, sir. I hope you're well. Bloody hell, I've got so much to catch up with before I can go. Right. Ange Ball, I will tell you now that if we don't make at least 3 top signings, we won't win anything yet again this season. And it will probably sit further behind thanks to Levy. Angeball then says, tight ass Levy missed the opportunity in Jan to cement our position and potentially push on. John Michael says, our 5 best players apart from Sonny are Vic and the back 4. What does that tell us about our midfield and attack? Not good enough. Daniel says Benny better come back next season. Come back next season with his attitude in check. Angeball then says, we always back them, and the ones that turn out to be good enough move on to bigger clubs and win things. Ben says Bentancur showed he is incapable of leadership this summer. Carson says there's no way Ange won't start Maddison against Leicester. Ange Ball says Bentancur will be fine. By Christmas, he should be back to his very best. He's also saying must keep Gio now at all costs. Daniel Coy says tell them to keep Solanke. They can have a list for free. And Ange says do not want overpriced Ramsey. That's another name that we've been linked with, but that's all gone quiet. Gallagher, we were linked with this. This is what I'm saying. There's such a scattergun approach from these in the nose, right? And we haven't gone. These have all gone quiet. They've all gone quiet. I agree. Lo Celso needs to be kept now from Carl. Right, I've caught up with the chat, so I've got to be real. I've got to plug because I'm going to be away. I will be away visiting my grandchildren from Wednesday, and I won't be back till Saturday till the watch along, so I won't have a lot of time. And the week's season starts the week after next. So basically, what I'm asking people to do, or what I wanted to grab people to do, is we have 3 competitions. One of them is the predictions that I normally do on this show. They will carry on being on a Friday, and they will be live. I will not be chasing people like I did last year through any other means. Either you come on the show on a Friday live, and we do the predictions together, right? Or if you've missed the show and you're watching it on playback, as long as you put your predictions in the comments after the show and they're done before the first kickoff, they will count. But I will not be chasing people. But that's going to be the standard one. And the second one that I'm doing is on my community page. It's the second from last. It's the penultimate post on the community page, and it's a predict the football league. So the links there, the codes there as well. You predict the football league. You go in, and it sends you a reminder. You go in, and you can predict what the scores are going to be each week. And then we're running a league table on it. So you go in, and like there for people that can see, I've put in Man United to beat Fulham 2-1. The beauty of this is that you can change that score, or any score, in fact, for the week, as long as the match hasn't kicked off. So if you were to get news nearer the time to the kickoff to say that Man United are carrying 8 injuries, then you might want to change your score before the kickoff, and you might have gone Man United 1, Fulham 2. So you might reverse the 2-1 to a 1-2, and then you score points. For an actual prediction scores you, I think it's 5 points in this, but then you score points for goals. You get goals for and goals against. So if you went Man United 1, Fulham 2, and the result was 3-3, you would lose goals because Man United scored 3 rather than 1, and you'd lose a goal because Fulham scored 3 rather than 2. So it's interesting. It's just a different way of doing it. The links are in the chat for it. Sorry, are in the community page, but just in case, it's there. It's Premier League predictthefootball.com, and then you put in the code, and it takes you straight to the league that we'll be running for Hotel Cockerel. It's self-serving, so it's down to yourselves to do it. It does send you a reminder out about doing it, so it will send you a reminder out about doing it, and then it sends you an email to tell you how well you've done and stuff like that. And with that, I know that we've had an extra player, a person join it today. So just to have a look, I think we should have 19. Bloody hell, that's loads. That's not us. That's everybody in the world, I think, at the moment. Right, so we've got 19 players. So at the moment, we have AJ, Carl Simpson, Chris Peters, Colin Sievers, Danny, Donna Cullen, Graham, Jamie Imber, Johnny Sanchez, Joris, myself, Kelly Edwards, Kevin Clark, Coover, Smithy, Rob Belcher, Ronnie, Scott Colliver, and Scott M have all entered, right? So yeah, if you go to that and enter that, then that'll be absolutely brilliant. Trying to get everyone on board, because as I said, I'm going to be away with the grandchildren, so therefore I'm going to not be able to plug this, and I'm trying to get people to join this. I'm trying to get people to join this as soon as possible, if at all possible. Hence why I was doing a show today, other than talking to you guys as well, which I love doing, because you lot are all absolutely brilliant. So that's live. I'm going to be doing one, and then I'm going to be doing that one, which will be online, and it's just self-serving. The other one that we're doing is the Fantasy Premier League. So again, on the page, on my community page, it's the last posting that I made. It was a few weeks ago. We have the fantasypremierleague.com, right? And to do the fantasypremierleague.com, it couldn't be easier. You go in to the link that we've got, and you go into the link we've got, and then just enter the code and you enter your team. But if you're doing a Fantasy Premier League, to help you guys out, you enter your details, you get to this page, and then what you do is you end up picking a squad, right? You get £100 million to spend, and you've got to select 15 players. So for people that can see here, I've selected 15 players. I've got 0 budget left. So I spent right on the button, I spent £100 million. I've done this just for show. I will be changing this lineup before I start. So this is not my final lineup, right? And with this, you have to pick 2 goalkeepers, 5 defenders, 5 midfielders, 3 attackers, right? And that's how you constitute your squad, a squad of 15 players. You can't pick more than 3 players from a team, right? So if you're going to pick Tottenham players, you can't pick more than 3. So the maximum you can have is 3 players. The scoring points for this is easy. It's scored on playing. So if you play 60 minutes minimum, you score 2 bonus points for playing 60 minutes. If you play 45 minutes, you score 1 point. Anything under 60 minutes, you get 1 point for an appearance. 2 points for an appearance if you play 60 minutes. With goalkeepers, they get points for clean sheets, for the amount of saves they make, and saving a penalty. But they get minus points after 2 goals. However many more goals you let in after that, then you start scoring minus points. You get minus points for being yellow carded, for being red carded. Defenders equally score 2 points for playing 60 minutes, but they also score 4 points for a clean sheet. The goalkeeper, I think, might be 5 points for a clean sheet, but defenders 4 points for a clean sheet, and then also if they play 60 minutes or more, you get 2 points. You get points for goals scored. So if a defender scores a goal, you get 5 points. If a midfielder scores a goal, you get 4 points. And if a striker scores a goal, you get 3 points. Your midfielders and strikers also get extra points for playing 60 minutes. The other way to score is you score assists. So if you score an assist, you get given points for an assist, which I think are 2 points for every assist. And an assist means, so if a defender goes up for a corner and they win the header and it comes off an opponent's player and then it lands to your player and you score, that's not an assist. An assist is a direct assistance to a goal, and you score points for assists and you score points for goals. It's real good fun and it's well worth entering. So I've got that up, and that's that's on the community page. So go to El Cockerel. It's on the community page. Once you've selected your team, you go to pick team, right? And this is the beauty of it. So at the moment, this team is set up to play 3-4-3. The minimum amount of defenders that you must have is 3. You can't have any less than 3 defenders. However many midfielders or strikers you choose to play with is down to you. So I could take out a striker and I could add a midfielder. That then changes my system to a 3-5-2. I could turn around and say one week, no, you know what? I'm going to play with a 4-5-1. So I'm playing with 1 striker. You must always have 1 striker. You must always have a minimum of 3 midfielders or a minimum of 3 defenders. If I think that the games are really favourable for the midfielders, sorry, for the defenders in 1 week, and they're all at home, let's say they're all playing at home and they're playing against decent opposition, I might end up with 5 at the back, 4 in midfield, 1 up front. So you change your permutation as you wish. The beauty is it's down to you. It's self-serving. It's down to you how you want to line up your team. With the transfers, again, if I go to transfers, with the transfers, you have up until kickoff time. So here it says game week 1, Friday the 16th of August, 18:30. And that's the first. By that time, you must have selected your team. With transfers, you can change your team as many times as you want before the kickoff of the deadline. After that, every week you get 1 free transfer. So you can change 1 player out every week for free of charge. If you change more than 1 player in a week, you end up losing 4 points for a second player and every player thereafter that you transfer out. And then whilst you're in the season, there are 3 games that you can. There's 3 bonuses that you get, right? And the bonuses are you can have a bench boost. So for 1 week only, if you think you've got a really favourable week, you can have all 15 players scoring points for you. Yeah, so you can play your bench boost. 1 week in the season, you can play a triple captain. So if you think someone's going to score you loads of points, you throw in your captain for a triple for that week, and you get 3 times the amount of points. And then you get a mystery chip. I don't know what the mystery chip that's new this year. It says info. I don't know. Let me see. What does the info say? Right, the mystery chip says what's inside. The mystery chip will be playable from January 2025. There's also normally on transfers, there is normally a button where you can make as many transfers for a week, but it'll only change your team for 1 week, and then it will revert back to your team again, right? And with that, you can you won't get charged for anything. But it's all fun. It's trying to bring something different to the channel. So there's 3 games that we'll be playing next year, and one of them is or the Fantasy Premier is one that we'll be playing. Check that out. So we'll be playing Fantasy Premier, Predict the League, and they're both online games. They both can be found on the community page, right? So you can have them two, right, to play online, and they're self-serving. And then we'll also have the usual shows here on a Friday, right? They'll have the usual shows here on a Friday, whereby we do the Predictions League. And like I said, when we do the Predictions League on a Friday, it will be only the predictions that are made. It'll be the predictions that are made on the show itself, right, that will count. Or if you leave them because you missed the stream, after the stream finishes, if you leave them in your comments, then I will do it from there. So please check out the community page. The last two posts on the community chat page will take you straight to the Predictions League and will take you straight to the Fantasy Premier League as well. Got some people. So we had 19 join, and now we have 20. So we now have a new player that's joined. So if we go to it, right, let me just right, let me go back to present again. So just to show, we have had a new player enter Predict the League, right? And that new player is Harmless Potato. Harmless Potato. So we now have 20 in the league, 20 that have joined. And I urge you all, please join, because I won't be able to plug this out much because I'll be away again this week with my grandchildren. So I won't be able to plug this. I'll only have tomorrow to plug this again, and that'll be it. So please join, and it's the links are all in the community page. Yeah. And then the other one is the Fantasy Premier League. If you go to the community page, you can find this in the Fantasy Premier League. You can find this as well. If you look at this, all right, let me go into leagues and cups. We now have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26. We can now have 26 players. So you've got me with Hotel Cockerel. You've got AJ with Norfolk and Chance. Jess Young from Jesse Talks Football is in there. Ped Vessel. I don't know who Ped Vessel is. Steve Riffamato. Rough Diamonds. You've got West Bromwich. You've got Robbie Clark's in there, who's from Lily White Lane. He's a podcaster. You've got Kevin Clark. You've got Johnny Sanchez Vasquez. Johnny Sanchez Bethnal Green. Rob Belch is there. Adrian Chia. You've got Dragon D's Nuts. You've got G'day Cobber, you've got Levy Out, you've got Graham Clutterbuck, you've got Chris Peters, Graham Dunn, Jamie Imber, Ian Greenwood, Ronnie Smith, Colin Sievers, James Corley, Carl Simpson, Scott M, Nathan Petiers, and Scott Colliver. So quite a few people are in there that you will know from the comments in the chat. So there are currently 26 players. So just a harmless potato. If you've joined the fantasy, then you're not coming up at the moment, I don't think. Unless you're one of the guys that I don't know. It's either West Bromwich Champion or Rough Diamonds. But anyway, it's there. It's self-serving, people. Come and join. Come and join. It will be fun. Just catch up with the chat before we end up the stream. Dekaru says, going down Python route, Excel didn't work, had chest infection, then had head cold, hate winter. Dekaru, listen, I wish you all the very best, mate. Healthy vibes to you. There's nothing like, no one should be ill. Anyone in the world, no one should be ill at all. Your health is important, and I hope that you get better soon. Carl Simpson says, I think we get 3 in this week. I hope you're right, Carl. Jazz Fusion says, why keep a guy Pastor won't play? Enjoy my time off. Thank you very much. Grandchildren, Scott says, you are way older than me, Grandpa. I certainly am. I certainly am, Scott. I have 5 children and 4 grandchildren. And my grandson will be 17 in November. I have a granddaughter of 13, and then I've got the grandchildren that I'm visiting this week are 5 and 3. So I've got 4 grandchildren, mate. So yes, I ain't doing badly. John Michael says, I'm taking my son to the Bayern. Not sure I want to go. John, I actually think that the Bayern game is going to be totally different to what the game was in Korea. I think for one, the weather plays a part, and it'll be totally different because the weather here is not as hot and humid as it is out there. I think most of their training, the hard weather training, has been done already. I think they'll be training, but not at the pace that they were training out there. So I think they'll be fresher for that. And also as well, with you, your son, and the rest of the mighty support at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium from the people that are willing the team to do well, I think that will stand them in good stead. So I think it'll be a totally different game. Lee Wiskid says, got to shoot off, Jose. Cheers. Cheers, the chat. Thanks for being here, Lee. DJ Samuel says, sounds good. Carl says, it's been over 35 years and I'm used to it. John Michael says, can we report Tottenham for fan abuse? Not getting us any players. John Michael, you have played an important part in today's chat, and you are more than welcome to join this chat whenever you like. AJ, just honest says, join both leagues now. I need a break. Phil Coys, good afternoon, Phil. I hope you're well, sir. I hope you're well. It'll be good to catch up with you soon because I like your views as well, Phil. They're fantastic. Hopefully, if you're still here, you can now hear what I said on the community page. I've got the two the two competitions going on. They're on the community page. You're more than welcome to join because you've always said that you were interested in joining next season, whether they're Brian G says he's going to join them later. Carl Simpson, I am going to show Spurs what they are now capable of. A treble. Just a harmless state says he's checking. What's your password for the league, Jose? They're both, Phil, they're both in the community page, right? So FPL and the Predictions League, they're both there with the codes to join as well. So the links are there that take you straight there, and the codes are both there as well, mate. John Michael says, Atletico Madrid close to striking a deal for Julian Alvarez, another player we should have gone for. I don't know how Atletico Madrid have got any chance of getting Julian Alvarez because they are, by all accounts, they're putting out 40 bags for Conor Gallagher, and there's not the only player. They've brought other players in as well, and I don't know whether Madrid have got the money to do them all. So, yeah. Just Harmless Potato says, I'm there, but not in your league yet. I'll get it done. Fantastic if you can. And then he says, okay, no, I'm in now. And the fantasy league code he's putting it out there for people is that one. Yeah, they're in the community page. Can I say to everyone, thank you very much for joining me today. Gone on for 2 hours and 8 minutes, a bit more than what I wanted to go on for, but it was good to get it out there. It was good to get your opinions. It was good to get your points across. It was good to read out what's the latest. Obviously, it's not news that we all want. We want players. We want to sign players. We want players in, and yeah, we want players in. Phil, the other one is, mate, we want players in, and that's no doubt. We do want players in. You've got the other one is there. So Phil, you've got Premier League Predict the Football, and you will see that it's Premier League Predict the Football, and it's got the code with it as well on the community page. So yeah, so people, what I will say to you is thank you for being here. Thank you for all taking part. Thank you for commenting. I'm sorry I can't give you any further news. I can only give you live what we had, and it weren't just Tottenham stuff that we talked about. We talked about other stuff as well. It's important to stay healthy, stay healthy, respect each other, respect each other's views. Let's not have civil war. What we want is we want to have a really good season. We want to back our team from the hilltops. Let's see. Let's just hope that we are doing stuff and we are doing bits and pieces before the season starts. I'd like to do more bits and pieces this week and before the Bayern game, and I'm sure all you guys wish the same as well. So, without further ado, like I said, I'm thanking you all fantastic people. Phil's just said he's just joined the fantasy. Leo's joined the fantasy as well. Yeah, so join both if you can, people. We want them both to grow. And can I say to everyone, thank you very much. And on your way out, if you could be so kind to hit the like button for the stream. If you haven't done so already, you know, it's been a nice gentle stream, but the likes do help. comments after the show on the streams do help as well, as I'm sure you're all aware. But I will probably be around tomorrow at some stage, whether it's here, there, or anywhere else. I'll be somewhere. I probably will try and plug this tomorrow again. I might do it in the morning tomorrow though, to try and get some people on different time zones and that. But for those that join, you're more than welcome. Thank you everyone for watching. And as always, I'm going to leave it with, come on, you Spurs. In Ange, I'm not talking about anyone else. In Ange, I trust. Cheers, guys.